Hello, art friends. Over the past weekend, my girlfriend and I got to spend the weekend in Paris, hanging out, checking out the views, going to the Louvre, which was crazy busy. But we also ended up going to the Sennelier shop. I say ended up going like it was an accident. It was very planned. We went to both of them. It's absolutely gorgeous in there. They have everything in like these beautiful wooden cabinets and like wooden pull-out drawers, and everything looks like it's 500 years old, and so many colors. It's beautiful. So I got a whole bunch of things. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a big artist fan, but I had to pick up the Sennelier watercolor pad. I've also been looking for a waterproof ink that I can use for my watercolors. For my dip pen, especially, I have the little microns I use, but I found this burnt sienna zation this, and it is waterproof supposedly. So we're gonna try to draw with that. Obviously, I had to pick up some Sennelier paints, some watercolor paints. Olive green, we got an opera rose, and we got a sap green. I already have some other Sennelier paints that I want to try along with these ones, but we got those to paint with, and some tiny little brushes, an Escoda brush, travel brush. So you just kind of, and you can take it out and attaches, and it becomes like one big brush when you're out painting or something in plein air. I've been wanting to do something Ghibli style for a while. I've done a couple of little drawings here and there, but I think I'm gonna try to do a Howl's Moving Castle illustration on here and see how that looks. I might change my mind, but I think that's what I want to do right now. So yeah, let's try. All right, so let's open this up and check out the paper itself. Let's see. Moment of truth. Okay. Yeah. It's good paper. It does feel like that kind of rough paper texture. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick that up at all, but like a little bit. So you see some of that rough paper texture in comparison to the Arches watercolor. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick up that texture all that well. Not really, but just there you can kind of see that the Sennelier paper is a bit more textured. It wouldn't be as textured as the Arches rough grain though. I'm not sure if I have any of that here because I don't tend to use it, but I feel like the Sennelier one is a little bit like something in between, which is kind of nice actually. I don't mind this. Maybe for graphic novel or comic book work, I might not use this, but I think for creating illustrations, this might be kind of nice. But yeah, let's give that a try. Alright, so I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do here, and I created a very rough sketch of what I'm thinking about doing. Tiny medieval village with Howl's Moving Castle in the background. I think that could be fun. I just realized that the sketch that I did is a little bit wider in format than this is gonna be, so I hope that's okay. I'll figure it out. Let's do this thing. All right, I was playing around with the sketch last night. It is the next morning, and I got a very loose sketch in of what I think the scene is gonna look like. This was the original idea. I had the houses pretty big, and then you could see house castle in the back. I think I made everything a little bit smaller, which I feel is like it's gonna give it a little bit more space to breathe with house castle in the back and a little village that I'm just creating right here. I don't know. I think I like this more. I think the other one might have been a little bit too busy.
So let's see. I'm gonna keep drawing this, and I'll see where it goes. If I don't like it, I'll erase it all and start again, which I don't want to do. We'll see. All right, let's get working on it.
Okay, so I'm finishing up the sketch here. I think I'm mostly done. The rest of it's probably going to be in ink. So I want to bring out the ink I'm going to be using. I found it at the Sennelier shop. It looks beautiful. I actually went ahead and I did a couple little ink tests on my original sketch here. Yeah, I was just kind of playing around with the ink, just to see what that would look like. And what I want to do is it's supposed to be waterproof. I'm gonna put that to the test right now. Got this little water brush here. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this on top of the original drawing, but we're here now. Let me really scrub that in. I don't see any. The gray is probably just, yeah, the gray is just my dirty brush, but there's no red coming through. It looks pretty good to me. All right, I'm gonna start inking the original piece, and then hopefully it stays waterproof, so then we can start painting it. So let's do that now. Let's ink up this guy. I like the way it looks so far. Let's see how it looks inked. So I am using I believe it's called a G-nib for my pen, and it's from Zebra. I haven't been able to use it as much because I haven't had like a nice brown ink that I've wanted to use it with. So hopefully with this new ink, I'll be able to use this a little bit more. Yeah, let's get going. Let's see what this looks like. So here's the finished piece. Let me see if I can bring this a little bit closer to you guys. So this is the finishing piece. Let me see if I can bring you guys a little bit closer here. I really enjoyed using a dip pen and ink again. I haven't done that in a really long time, and it was more fun than the Micron. Not gonna lie. I think the Microns might be a little bit faster, but I think this is more fun. And I get a really nice line expression inline weight with this dip pen. That actually might, I don't know, I might have to do a speed test to see if it would be faster to do it with a Micron or if it would be faster to do it with the dip pen. Because the dip pen, you do have to go back and forth. But with the Micron, I kind of have to go over it a couple of times to get the same line weight. So maybe it just evens out. I don't know. I ended up doing the trees with the Micron just because I wanted to see the difference. So the trees are a little bit lighter with the Micron, and I ended up erasing the pencil that was underneath, and it actually erased a lot of the ink off the Micron, but it didn't lift any of the ink off the dip pen at all. But yeah, so far I really like the drawing. I'm gonna paint it now, see what that looks like. I'll take you guys along, and we'll do a little speed painting over here and have some fun with it. All right, so I finished up inking. I finished the sketching stage. Now I'm gonna use an assortment of tools that are behind me to put in some masking fluid, and then from there, I'm just gonna do a big wash of a couple colors, try to get the landscape painted, and then you'll see. I'm talking a lot. I might as well show you instead of tell you. So masking fluid, and then paint, and show. Don't tell. Let's do it. Okay, recap. Mind focus. Doesn't help that I have paint in my hand. Okay, recap. The paper's good. The paper's really good. I'm not gonna lie, I've noticed no difference between the Sennelier paper and the Arches paper. It was really good paper. And I've been using Arches paper for years now, and this was just as good, honestly. The drying time might be a little bit faster, but this is also the rough paper, and I don't know if their cold press paper would be any different. But besides that, it was, yeah, perfect. I really liked working on it. It is like, it's a little bit cheaper, not by much. If you really love arches and you notice a difference, I'd say you could stick to arches and that'd be totally fine. But besides for that, yeah, I would honestly use this paper any day of the week. It was completely fine. It was better than fine. It was really, really great paper. And I'm excited to use their sketchbooks because it's also 100% cotton paper. So that might be fun to paint around here. So we're going to try that out as well. The ink was also amazing. It stood up against washes really well. It like had no problem taking in a whole bunch of water. It never faded. It never smudged. The real test is with the masking fluid. So when you put masking fluid on ink and you pull it out, it can sometimes lift the ink with you, especially from the Micron pens. This did a really good job at not doing that. So it stayed on the paper. And somebody told me that dip inks are really good at that. Don't know why. But yeah, this did a really good job at just staying on the paper and not being pulled out with the masking fluid. The colors are still really vibrant, even with washes on top. It's still like that nice, like reddish brown color. And for the paints, I'm really loving these Sennelier paints. I've been a Daniel Smith guy for most of my watercolor career. I've used Schminky for their super granulating, and I have another few Schminky colors that I really like. But the Sennelier ones, they're good, and also a little bit cheaper than Daniel Smith, and a little bit cheaper than the Schminkies. I've been mixing the Rose Opera with the Daniel Smith Cobalt Teal Blue, and it makes like a really nice purple. I'll show you. A really nice purple for shadows, and you can see how it's almost granulating right there. I don't know if you can kind of see that. And it kind of naturally separates itself, which I think that this the cobalt teal blue has a tendency to just want to do that anyways with other colors. But with that, it makes like a really fun way to make vibrant shadows. But yeah, overall, love the Sennelier materials. I'm loving this new ink. I think this is actually going to be my go-to ink from now on. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope to see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. It helps me out. Still growing. So yeah, thank you.